안녕하세요. 반갑습니다. Welcome back to Talk to Me in Korean. This is another live class reviewing this time level 3 of our Talk to Me in Korean curriculum. Level 3, this is the level 3 book. As you know, we have books that go along with our courses. All right, so let's get started. Thank you for being early, everyone, in the chat. Today, like last time, we're going to go over 30 lessons together like this. So this is the same format that we had last time, but I just wrote up the list of things that we will do. We'll do lessons 1 to 10 and then have a short Q&A session and then do 10 more lessons, have another Q&A session, the last 10 lessons, and then have the longest Q&A session at the end. All right, if you are ready, let's get started right away with the first lesson in level 3. Before we start, if you are new to this channel and if you're watching the recorded version of this live class, because many people do due to the time differences, please check out our entire channel, our website at talktomeinkorean.com, and check out our books and our apps. So these are our services. You can go to the course website and take the courses, and then you can look at the curriculum over here if you take a look around. So we have upgraded our beginner level courses. You can go through the courses and see that you can learn to read the Korean alphabet, Hangul, the Korean letters, and then practice pronunciation, conversation skills. We have listening and reading courses, vocabulary courses, and some topic preparation stuff, as well as business Korean and many more. And then we also have our books, our speaking practice app, and then our graded reading app. We have everything you need for learning Korean. All right. Excuse me. Let me just take the last sip of my coffee before we get started with today's live class. Salma, you want to sleep, but you are here. Thank you for being here. Although sleep is also important, so I'll let you decide. And you can, if you decide to sleep in the middle of the class, please do come back for the recorded full live class. Okay, so the first lesson in level 3 focuses on this expression, 너무. So as you know, this is the last level in the beginner stage of our curriculum. We have 10 different levels. 1 to 3 are beginner, 4 through 7 are intermediate lessons, and then 8, 9, 10 are advanced lessons officially in our Talk to Me in Korean curriculum. And this is the last level in the beginner category. 너무. 너무 is originally too much or excessively. It really used to be only used for saying something is too much, too big, too fast. But a few years ago, I would say about a decade ago, about 10 years ago, it was for the first time accepted as standard usage to say 너무 for meaning very, really. So it's okay to use 너무 for very. So 너무 빨라요. So depending on the context, if it's too fast, for example, when you are saying that something is 어려워요, difficult, the context is pretty clear. It's just pointing in the direction of it's too difficult. But for example, what's a good example of a sentence that makes you unsure whether it's too much or, like, for example, 너무 let's say 너무 재미있어요. So 너무 재미있어요. With this one, with these examples that are in the course, in the lesson itself, 너무 빨라요, it's clearly only too fast, excessively fast, unnecessarily too fast. 너무 어려워요, too difficult. 너무 시끄러워요, too noisy. 너무 좋아요, 너무 잘했어요. You did such a good job. Not like too good of a job, but this one maybe it can be both. 너무 재미있어요. It's so fun, or it's too much fun and you can't focus on other things, right? So you can decide. Are there other ways to say too much or very? Well, there are many other ways to say too much and many other ways to say very, like really, 아주, 정말, 진짜, etc. But this is the only word, 너무 is the only word that kind of stands on the overlapping territory between too much and very, if you know what I mean. Okay. 너무. I think it's clear enough. So if you have more specific questions, I will try to answer that in the Q&A session, in the Q&A sessions between the 10 lessons, okay? All right. And please let me know during the lesson if my pace is too fast or too slow. I will adjust. Lesson 2 is linking verbs, specifically with 고. Yeah. One lesson I learned from the 2 previous super long live lessons was that I need water, hot water. So I brought it here in this cute Ryan cup. I need it right now. Okay, cool. So you can connect 2 sentences like 이 책은 재미있어요 if the meaning is connected. This book is interesting. 이 책은 싸요. This book is cheap. You can say this book is interesting and cheap. 이 책은 재미있고 싸요. Here, although the pronunciation, if you look at individual letters, 재미있 is what you would say, and 고, but naturally 재미있고, 있고, the double 시옷 sound is kind of weakened because of the following 고, 재미있고. So it will sound like 재미있고 in fluid pronunciation, 재미있고. Okay, and you can link 3 or more. 이 책은 재미있고 싸고 좋아요. 이 책은, you can keep going on like that. 재미있고 싸고 좋고, but then that's not natural. Nobody talks like that in real life, even in other languages, right? So another one is, this one is just listing the characteristics of this book. Maybe we can say it about our book, level 3, Talk to Me in Korean level 3. 이 책은 재미있고 싸고 좋아요. Or you can talk about, you can list the things that you did in the past. I read a book, I studied, and did some exercise. I worked out. So you can say 책 읽고 공부하고 운동했어요. We get questions a lot, like quite often, about how to determine which of the 2 I guess not double, but 2 last consonants to pronounce and read when you have something like this. But it's actually often arbitrary and often not like random, but often different based on the word itself. So is it 읽고? Is it 읽고? In this case, the standard pronunciation is 읽고. So you just have to learn with individual cases as you go along. So 책 읽고 공부하고 운동했어요. And then one important thing is that the tense, the overall tense of the sentence is only marked by the ending. So you can say, for example, 책 읽었고, just using the past suffix. Here, 공부했고, 운동했어요. This is okay. This is not like completely terrible or like ineligible or anything like that. But this sounds a little more like a child's speech. 책 읽었고, 공부했고, 운동했어요. Kind of trying to sound cute maybe. Or if you are not intending to list things like this, you are like 책 읽었어요. You were going to say that, but then you steered and then you said 책 읽었고, and that's a possible scenario. But normally, the future tense, the past tense, everything is marked at the end with just one last verb. 좋아요. I am trying to look at the comments and the questions if to see if anything is completely related to the stuff that we're going over. But please, if you don't mind, please do repeat your question toward like the end of the 10 lessons in the Q&A session. Lesson 3. Oh, by the way, before we move on to lesson 3, we are actually ending our sale for the course subscription, yearly subscription. If you don't have it already, this is the course page. So please go check out our website, courses.talktomekorean.com. You will see the link below. And today's the last day of our sale for the 50% off your first year subscription discount. So please check it out. And lesson 3. This is how you say in front of something, behind something, on top of something, and under something. So basically what you are doing is use these short nouns that refer to the specific places, the relative locations of things. 앞, 뒤, 옆, 위, 밑. So 앞, 뒤, 옆, 위, 밑. And then you add 에, which is the location marker. 앞에, 뒤에, 옆에, 위에, 밑에. Because it's a review, I can allow myself to introduce, I guess, additional information because it's not a completely new lesson that you are seeing for the first time. There's another word. So these are the location words, expressions. There's another word in Korean that sounds like mit, which is this one. Have you seen this? Have you seen this word before? Mit? Do you know the difference between mit and mit? Maybe I can say because we are having our meetup next week. Meetup. This is a Koreanized spelling of meetup. Okay, so you have seen mit here and there. So there can be 3 different ways to spell the sound of mit, with a shiot, with a tiot, with a chiot, like that. So mit is bottom, bottom of something, under something. And this one actually means and, formally. So for example, 시험, 수업 및 시험. So if you see something like this, it actually means just and. Classes and exams. So in more casual everyday conversations, you will hear 수업하고 시험 or 수업과 시험, 수업이랑 시험. This is the most casual. But in an official announcement or some kind of, I don't know, formal document, you will see mit. All right? So now that you know mit, which means bottom, I just wanted to introduce this other mit with a different spelling, which means and. You will see it often now that you know it. Okay? Some examples. 자동차, car, 자동차. 앞에, the difference between English and Korean in this case is that whatever is the center of the location is in front of these words. Instead of 앞에 자동차, you say 자동차 앞에, 자동차 뒤에, 자동차 옆에, 자동차 위에, 자동차 밑에. Can you say 아래? Yep. 자동차 아래에. 아래. Yeah, it's pretty interchangeable. Okay. So another one is the difference between, so using the same nouns, the same one-syllable nouns, you need to distinguish between 에 and 에서. If it's something or someone who is just in the certain place in front of the bank. 앞에 있어요. Depending on the verb, you need to use 앞에. If you say 은행 앞에 서, you need to add some sort of action like meeting, waiting, eating, studying. 소파 위에서 자고 있어요. 소파 위에서 I am sleeping on the couch. Sofa. Did you know that a long time ago, maybe 30 years ago, 30, 20 years ago, up until then, many people used to say sofa when I was, so old spelling. When I was a child, I thought the official name for a couch or sofa was sofa. I don't know why, but somehow in the process of importing this word into the Korean language, they started pronouncing it like that. There are many cases like this. So for example, box becoming unnecessarily like pronounced as box. There were many, examples like that. Cabernet Sauvignon, I think, Sauvignon. Many people still say Sauvignon, the wine kind. So when it's a foreign word that comes into Korean, it's often not correctly spelled. And it becomes a fixed pronunciation. Moving on to lesson 4. This is how you say, shall we? Or I wonder if so-and-so. So this is the conjugation, 을까요? We introduced the fact that the reason that this is used quite often as a question is because when you are asking a question like this, you are basically throwing the question in the air and not at the other person. It's a less direct way of asking. So, for example, 비가 와요? Or 비 와요? Is it raining tomorrow? Will it rain tomorrow? Instead of asking a direct question like that to the other person, you can say, I wonder if it will rain. And I guess it can be also translated to, do you think it will rain? Asking for someone's opinion or expressing curiosity. 이 사람은 누구예요? Instead of asking it directly like that, 이 사람은 누구예요? Yeah. Who is this person? It can sound like you are accusing someone. Hey, who's this person? But then 이 사람은 누구일까요? It's a very soft way of asking. Who do you think this person is? I wonder who this person is. 내일 날씨가 추울까요? Expressing curiosity. So when you're in the room with one other person, just one other person, you express curiosity. It is the other person's responsibility to answer naturally, but you're being less direct. And then this one also is similar, but raising a topic. This is quite commonly used in meetings and stuff. 왜 이런 일이 생겼을까요? So think of a TED Talk speech, and then you are introducing a topic. 한국어 공부를 어떻게 하면 좋을까요? 여러분. Like that. This is inviting people to think about it, right? How should we study Korean, everyone, as a topic? And then you can make a suggestion. Shall we see a movie tomorrow? 내일 우리 영화 볼까요? Later on in a different lesson, we'll talk about suggesting that you do something, like saying let's, but this is one way. Okay. Lesson 5. This one is about how to say approximately or about. So not like about a topic, but around 500 grams or things like that. There are mainly 3 ways to do that. 쯤 is added directly after a noun without a space, like a particle, and 정도 is used like a noun with a space in front. These are interchangeable. And 약 is used before a noun. They are all the same. Okay? For example, 1시쯤, around 1 o'clock. 1시쯤. 1 o'clock-ish, 1시쯤. So you see that there's no space, like not like that. 1시쯤. 한 달쯤, approximately 1 month. 한 달쯤. And you can express the same ideas using 정도. 1시 정도 with a space. 한 달 정도. Like that. If you were to ask me which one sounds more formal, this one, 정도, sounds more formal. And 약 한 달 sounds way more formal than 한 시쯤. And then you can often mix everything. 약 한 달쯤 is possible. 약 한 달 정도 is possible. And even this one is possible. 약 한 달 정도쯤. Although it is not recommended, I have seen many people say stuff like this. 약 한 달 정도쯤. 약 한 달쯤 정도. When you're not sure, like approximately or about a month-ish approximately. So if you were to say that in Korean, you can throw everything in there. Okay? 좋아요. Can you talk a little bit about how the helping verb 보다 changes the 까요 meaning? 시작할까요? So scrolling back a little bit to lesson 4 here. Okay. Good question. 시작하다, to start, to begin. 시작할까요 is shall we begin? Shall we start? Okay. 시작해 볼까요 is the same as the previous sentence in translation, but it's I would say it's a nicer way to invite. Softer invitation. 시작해 볼까요? Because of that 보다 means to see. And because of this meaning of to see, so and so 아어여 보다, 가보다, 먹어보다, 해보다, it means I'm not sure what will happen. I'm not sure about the result, but let's give it a try and see what happens. And because I am suggesting that we give it a try and we, see what happens, I won't have too high expectations for the results. So it's lighter. So when you say 시작할까요 versus 시작해 볼까요, this one is a nicer, softer invitation. The other person might not feel as much burden. So that is why it is very commonly used. Yeah, should we see about starting? Well, should we see about starting? Yeah, maybe you can say that. Should we consider starting? But translation is the same. 시작할까요? 시작해 볼까요? Shall we begin? And because of this meaning of softer invitation, when you say 시작해 볼까요, I personally often add 슬슬, which is like gradually, like slowly warming up so that we can 슬슬 시작해 볼까요? So this adverb, 슬슬, little by little, gradually, starting slowly, and 아어여 보다 and 해볼까요 work really well. They go hand in hand really, really naturally. Okay, I hope that answers your question. The Q&A session, the midpoint Q&A session is coming up very soon, so I'll come back to your other questions, everyone. Is the pace okay? I hope so. Lesson 6 is the future tense. 을 거예요. We did already learn the basic future tense in a previous lesson, but this one compares 을 거예요 and 을 게요. 을 게요, because of this 게요 or 게 part, it's a responsive future. Responsive or reactive or thoughtful, considerate, many things. So for example, 공부할 거예요. 공부할 거예요. It's an independent plan, regardless of whatever the other person will say or has said. 공부할게요, it is either in response to someone's remarks or expecting some kind of feedback from the other person. 공부할게요. So it can work both ways. Somebody said something, so there was a message, and you can say, 네, 공부할게요. Oh, I'm gonna have to mention this one because I accidentally typed it. You can, so imagine a situation where somebody said, and as a response, you can say, oh, okay, I'll study. Or you can say, 저 공부할게요. Putting your headphones on, like signaling to the other person that you will start studying and you won't be able to hear the other person, right? 저 공부할게요. Or you're closing the door, locking the door, and then B will say, okay, fine, or no, you must not study. So you are expecting that there will be some kind of reaction from the other person. So it can work both ways, either before or after you think there is something, some interaction. And as I was typing 공부할게요 or 네 earlier, because this tilde, this wave sign is right next to the exclamation mark, 느낌표, 물결표. 표 is a mark. Okay, so 물음표, 마침표, 쉼표. I don't think I've ever actually talked about the names of these punctuation marks. But, okay, one thing at a time. So I accidentally typed this one because it's right next to each other. And when you say 네 and 네 and 네, they all sound different and they all feel different. 네 is very, I guess, neutral. There's no emotion there. 네 is like, 네, something like that. 네, I'll do it. You're like determined to do something and you're saying, okay, I'm going to do it. And then 네, it's more cheerful this way. So in KakaoTalk chat rooms, when people send messages, they often deliberately add this one. I think it's more of an older generation thing nowadays because younger people in their 20s, maybe teenagers, don't use it as much in my observation, but still, it's pretty common in Korean. It has two purposes. It shows a range. So 1시에서 4시 or 알겠습니다, 감사합니다, like that, just to sound cheerful. And then some names. 느낌표, exclamation mark. I don't have to write that in English, but the literal translation is feeling mark, 느낌표. 물결표, wave, water wave mark. 물음표, asking mark. You love using the tilde even in English. Okay, that's good. 마침표 is 마치다. 마치다's noun form plus mark. 마치다's noun form. 마치다 means to finish, to end. So 마침 means finishing. And 쉬다, to rest. 쉬다's noun form plus mark. So again, exclamation mark. 느낌표, you felt something. Oh, wow, you felt it. You exclaim. 물결표, the wave mark. 물결표, 물결, no, 물결. 물음표, question mark. 마침표, the period. And then 쉼표, comma. Comma is 쉼표. Okay. Moving on. We were discussing that. Just one last example before we move on to the next lesson is 저도 갈 거예요. I'm going to go. No matter what you say. 저도 갈게요. It does matter what you say. Okay? Lesson 7. Linking verbs with 서 this time. We looked at 고 earlier. 아서, 어서, 여서. Several usages. How many usages do we have? 3. The first usage is reason and result. 비가 와서 못 가요. It is raining, so I cannot go. Or even in the past tense, it works. 비가 와서 못 갔어요. Just like with 고, the 서 doesn't have to show the past tense or the future tense. It's really difficult to express the future tense with this one. There is a way, but the point is the tense is expressed through the last verb conveniently. In English, you have to express the past tense here, here, present tense here, here, but in Korean, just once. And then the next usage is, this one is very useful. One action happens plus the next action. They are linked, related. 공원에 가서 책을 읽을 거예요. I'm going to go to the park and then read a book, but then you can see that you're going to read a book there at the park. 친구를 만나서 밥을 먹었어요. I met a friend and we ate together, even though the Korean sentence doesn't have the word 같이. It means together. 공원에 가고 책을 읽을 거예요. If you connect the two parts with 고, it's very likely that you just went to the park separately. You didn't bring a book with you. 책을 읽을 거예요. You read a book somewhere else. It's very, very possible, very, very likely. But if you say 공원에 가서 책을 읽을 거예요, you are 100% reading the book at the park. Okay? All right. Usage number 3, action plus purpose or plan. 돈을 모아서. So this is not a reason, but cause maybe. 돈을 모아서 뭐 할 거예요? So you are gonna save money and do what? 케이크를 사서 친구한테 줄 거예요. I'm gonna buy a cake and then give it to a friend. Okay? So that is 아어여서. Very, very useful. Linking verbs. And then lesson 8. To look like, to seem like, using 같다. 같다. 같다 originally means to be the same. So you can say A랑 B랑 같아요. A and B are the same. Oh, who's sending up all the hearts? Thank you so much. 감사합니다. I appreciate that. A랑 B랑 같아요. If you are saying that something is the same, you need to use these markers. But then you just use a noun and then add 같아요. It means it is like something. I hope you are repeating everything out loud after me, saying everything with me. Okay, 커피 같아요. It doesn't mean it's the same as coffee. It means it's like coffee. No particle needed. It seems to be coffee. So yeah, these are two different meanings, right? It is like coffee. I forgot to turn on Do Not Disturb. So yeah, I just did on my computer. You can say it's not coffee. I just recently heard about this type of tea that really like looks like, smells like, tastes like coffee. So in that case, oh, it is really like coffee. 진짜 커피 같아요. Or you can be looking at a cup from far away and then you don't see the contents of it and then you're like, it looks like coffee. So two meanings can be expressed through this one Korean line. 커피 같아요. 거짓말 같아요. Seems to be a lie. It sounds like a lie. 로봇 같아요. Looks like a robot. Or it is like a robot. So somebody's dancing. Somebody's an excellent popping dancer, popper. You're like, oh, robot 같아요. You're like a robot. So two meanings. I hope the distinction between the two meanings is clear. Lesson 9. To look like or to seem like. So this is related to the previous lesson, lesson 8. We looked at 같아요, and then you can actually use this with a verb, with 컷. 컷, okay? So these are the conjugations. Since it's a review, I'm going to skip over the detailed conjugations. The main idea is that the verb or the descriptive verb can be changed into 이상한 것 같아요, like that. So the key takeaway from this lesson is that whenever you want to say I think, I guess, in Korean, so-and-so 것 같아요 is so commonly used. I'm a little conscious when I write a Slack message or KakaoTalk message, and when every single sentence has 것 같아요, 같아요, 같아요. If it's a 3-sentence paragraph and I have 같아요 at the end of every single sentence, I try to delete at least one of the 같아요s because it's like I'm not sure. So, but Korean people in general tend to have this habit of using 같아요, 것 같아요 too often. Okay. 이상한 것 같아요. 눈이 오는 것 같아요. 눈이 올 것 같아요. So the takeaway from these examples is that it can be used with various types of tenses. Descriptive verb present, present progressive, it is snowing. 눈이 올 것 같아요. This real, 올 것 같아요, future tense. 이야기한 것 같아요 with this little 니은 after 하다 or after 하 here marks the past tense. 이야기할 것 같아요, future tense. 이야기하는 것 같아요, present tense. So in level 3 at this point, I hope you are quite accustomed to these little markers. So whenever you see this real or 을, so let's kind of emphasize the small parts. Although it can be used with 을, like 을, but when you see this real at the end of a verb stem, it's the future. Imagine will, like the 을 sound. And then 는 is the present tense. And 니은 marks the past tense. Imagine done. I don't know if this will help. Kind of a mnemonic device. So yeah, here 이야기한, 한, past tense. 할, future tense. 하는, present tense. Yeah, so you can express your ideas and thoughts. Samantha, 모양이다. 가는 것 같아요. 가는 모양이에요. So it's great that you know this, but you don't have to say 모양이에요 very often or even at all in spoken Korean. This is very written language like 모양이에요. People do say it from time to time, but not a lot of younger people. 모양. So it's in the shape of somebody going somewhere. So it seems like somebody's going. So 모양 means shape. 모양. So 가는 모양인데요. 가는 모양이에요. I would actually be surprised if somebody in their 20s said this often. 오늘 비가 오는 모양인데요. It sounds like from an older generation. So or in a novel. So yeah. Okay. Charity says a friend once described 은 to me as the sound you make when your toddler punches you. So maybe you can imagine that the punch has happened, and then as a result, you're saying 은, so it's the past tense. Whatever works in terms of trying to remember things, I think is all good. I hope, yeah, your toddler doesn't punch you often. It's a bit archaic, yes. And lesson 10, before ing, 기 전에. So by adding 기 after the verb stem, you're turning it into one of the noun forms in the Korean language. There are several noun forms. And then 전에, 전 means before, in front. So 전에, 집에 가다, 집에 가기 전에, before going home. 공부하다, 공부하기 전에, before studying, before you study. So just like in English, for example, if you say before you go home, before she goes home, before he goes home, you need the subject and then you have to match the verb accordingly to the tense and everything. But a convenient way to say the same idea without saying the subject is before going home, right? Using the ing form. So think of it like this. When you hear 집에 가기 전에, you have no idea who is going home. You have no idea what tense the whole sentence is going to be. It's convenient, but then it makes you pay attention to the overall context of the sentence, right? 공부하기 전에. So if I start a sentence like 공부하기 전에, you have no idea where the sentence is going to go. I can say 공부하기 전에. Everyone, before you study, etc. 공부하기 전에 I had coffee. I had coffee before I started studying. All right. Q&A. 네, 여러분의 질문을 So I'll give you some time to copy your So there's this pop-up there's this please leave your questions here or Q&A session. I can do this. I can start a Q&A session. You can click on ask something and then it'll come up as a question, I think. Can you try if you had a question earlier? So I can distinguish questions from regular comments more clearly. If it doesn't work really well, I'll turn it off. But I have two windows, so I'm gonna scroll back as well. Alex, you're whispering. I asked that you repeat things out loud, but you are whispering as you repeat stuff after me because it is 2 a.m. Thank you for watching at 2 a.m. And then, okay, scrolling up. I don't see questions coming up in this. Oh, okay. Is this a conjugation lesson? I see questions, coming up here. Let me just try to. This is not like a conjugation only lesson, but we are going over many conjugation rules as part of the grammar points. Okay, here. This is a great question. I love it. Can you talk a little bit about using 아어여서 with 그래요? It feels like an incomplete thought in English. Okay. 그렇다 is to be so, to be like that, right? So 그래요 is the present tense. It is so. It is like that. So I think we need to start by understanding 그래요 because 아어여서 그래요 is just an extension based on 그래요. So 왜 그래요? Why are you like that? I know it's a very rough translation, but when somebody is crying, you can ask 왜 그래요? When somebody is obviously hurting, 왜 그래요? Something is malfunctioning, a device is not working, 왜 그래요? So 그래요. So 그래요 refers to anything that is happening right now, anything that you see happening in front of you. And 아어여서, so someone's slouching, okay? Like that, grabbing their stomach. You ask 왜 그래요? And then the other person says 배고파서 그래요. It's because, or I'm doing this because I'm hungry. So do you see the pattern? It just replaces other more specific expressions to be more efficient. So you can either describe the whole situation 왜 배를 잡고 있어요? Why are you holding your stomach? Why are you slouching, grabbing your stomach? Or why? Why are you doing that? 왜 그래요? And then instead of saying, oh, I am slouching and grabbing my stomach, 배를 잡고 있어요. 왜냐하면 배가 고파서요. Something like that. So it's for efficiency. I hope that, explains it. So you can also add it as a follow-up sentence after a question. 내일 뭐 해요? What are you doing tomorrow? 그냥 궁금해서 그래요. Or 콘서트 티켓이 있어서 그래요. So 내일 뭐 해요? What are you doing tomorrow? 그냥 just 궁금해서 I am curious, so 그래요 means I am asking. 콘서트 티켓이 콘서트 티켓, you can guess what it is. A concert ticket or concert tickets 있어서 그래요. I'm asking because I have concert tickets to give to you. So, yeah. Thank you for the good question. Skylight V2 asks, I studied Korean in the past, but I almost forgot everything. How can I know which level I am? You can go to our website, take the level test. So let me show you. Here, right here. Do you see my cursor? Go to talktomekorean.com, go to the course page, and take the level test right here. And then you can see which one is right for you. Or you can start from level 1 and then just review. Oh, I know this. And then mark complete. Oh, I know this. Mark complete. So you can easily go to the course library, go from level 1. These are my bookmarked lessons. And then go to lesson 1 and then watch it. And then if you like it and if you're like, oh, I know 안녕하세요, I know 감사합니다, you can just complete it. And then you can go to lesson 4. Oh, I know how to say 죄송합니다, 저기요. You can mark it as complete. And then you go on to the next exercise. All right? 감사합니다. Thank you for your question. And then, okay. Can you provide all the usages of ko and their differences? We saw it many times in level 1 to 3. Do they have something in common? Well, I don't know if I can recall from memory all the different usages, but ko is basically and. Ko, yeah. And then, so it depends on how you define it. So for example, 가고 있어요. This is the present progressive. You are in the middle of going somewhere, right? Can you say that this ko and this ko are the same? I don't think, I personally don't see it as the same, but some people do. So can you call this a different usage of ko? Not really. It's just coincidence that this ko is used here. So if you exclude these usages, ko is basically and this magic word 그렇다 in Korean, to be so, which originally came from 그러하다 in ancient archaic Korean or older Korean, like from hundreds of years ago, 그러하다, 그래요, and then 그러하고 changes to 그러고 그리고, right? Like 그리고. So 그리고 고 are the same. So 친구 그리고 for example 친구 그리고 동료, friends and colleagues. So if it's a noun, you connect this with another noun with 그리고. If it's a verb, you connect it with 고. That's the main idea. I hope that helps. It is used inside of many more compound expressions. All right, 2 more questions. I'm going to answer these 2 and then go back to reviewing the lessons. Thank you for your questions. I think I can end the Q&A session right now like that. Thank you. All right. So 을게요, is it more personal? Is it only used at first person? Ah, okay. 저 갈게요. 저 먼저 갈게요. Yes, it is used mostly in the first person. It is incorrectly used though by many native Korean speakers in the second person. So what I mean is it is only correct when you use it in the first person. 저 기다릴게요. 저 기다릴게요. I will wait. And you are waiting for the other person's reaction to your statement saying that you will wait. And then this is incorrect. The following one, incorrect but often heard, is usage is 여기에서 기다리실게요. This should not work technically. 여기에서 here 기다리실게요. 기다리다 and then you add 시, the suffix for the honorific speech. 기다리실게요. 여기에서 기다리실게요. People say this sometimes to mean please wait here. So again, let me emphasize that it's incorrect but accepted, okay? Unfortunately. I rarely say this, but the reason that people say it, if you look at the psychology behind why do people use the first person only, I will do it, waiting for your reaction or feedback to my idea in this kind of honorific speech for saying, hey, please wait. It's because when in the Korean language, people want to say stuff respectfully with honorifics. 여기에서 기다리세요. Some people who do use this kind of form think that 기다리세요, it's an imperative. Please wait here. It's a command. You're ordering someone. Doesn't matter if you're using an honorific suffix or not. So they feel uncomfortable. 여기에서 기다리세요. So they sometimes say 여기에서 기다려주세요. One step safer, but then they still think, oh, how dare I say 기다려주세요 to someone? So they say this incorrect version. 기다리실게요. You will wait here, okay? Or another possible explanation is that they were just trained that way. 기다리실게요. It's wrong. It's wrong, but it is unfortunately used here and there. Yeah. Does this make sense? Does this sound interesting to you? Like, was this some interesting information for you? Now that you've heard it, now that you heard me explain this, you will hear it here and there, especially when you travel in Korea. Yeah, there are so many unnatural, illogical, wrong sentences that are used in service industry, especially, mainly because of that reason. Oh, how dare I? How can I? Like, they're too careful. All right, moving on to lesson 11. 11 is piup irregular. This one is easier, simple. So you drop piup with some words, not everything, and then use o or u. Okay, 도와요, not 도봐요. 도울 거예요. And then 어려워요, 어려울 거예요. 오, 우. 추워요, 추울 거예요. And then one exception to this irregular rule, which makes it regular, is 좁다, to be narrow or to be small in space, to be a small space, is 좁아요, 좁을 거예요. All right. Lesson 12. This one is on, separate expression. 그래도. It is linked to something that we will learn in the future. We will review in the future. 그래도. For now, as a standalone expression, 그래도. But you can guess because I emphasized the role of 그렇다 so much. 그렇다, 그래요, 그래도. Okay? So, or 그렇다, 그러하다, 그러해도, 그래도. This is more accurate. 그러하다, 그러해도, 그래도. If you watch history dramas, you will hear people saying 그러해도. 한국어는 어려워요. 그래도 재미있어요. So, but still, even like 그래도 means also. So it is like that also, even also in a situation where it's like that, it is fun. And then you can use 그래도 as a standalone sentence when you want to say, but still, like, you are grounded. And to your mom, you're like, 그래도 or 그래도요. When you have a little bit of argument to make left. Lesson 13, making adjectives using 니은 or 은. So turning the descriptive verb in dictionary form into the actual adjective form to be used in front of a noun. 작다 집, you can't say that. 작은 집. 빠르다 차, you can't say that. 빠른 차, because it is to be fast. 조용하다, 조용하다. To be quiet, 조용한 방. Quiet room. 비싸다, to be expensive. 비싼 컴퓨터, an expensive computer. And then these rules apply to descriptive verbs, but 있다 and 없다 are like action verbs because it exists. It doesn't exist. Instead of 은 or 니은, you use 는. So not 있은, it's 있는. If you say 있은 with 은, that's the past tense. Okay? 없는. So words that have 있다 and 없다. 재미있는 영화. 맛있는 음식. 재미없는 책. And a very common mistake that a lot of learners make in the beginning is they look up the word for pretty and they say is. It is pretty. 예쁜이에요? That's wrong because you have to conjugate it. 예뻐요. Even if you do know the 니은 form. All right. Lesson 14, making adjectives. So this is related to the second portion of this lesson where we looked at 있다 being followed by 는. So the action verbs are followed by 는. So 가다, 가는 사람, the person who goes. 자다, 자는 아이, the child who sleeps. Real is dropped in front of 는 for ease of pronunciation. So not 열는, it's 여는 시간, the time it opens. 부는 바람, the wind that blows. 좋아하다, 좋아하는 책. 눈이 오는 날. So here, this is the key part. 눈이 오는 날. A day, on a day when it snows. And 저기 있는 사람. The person who is over there. 아는 사람. Is it someone that you know? So this 는, I guess I can say that it is in the center of Korean sentence flexibility. What I mean by that is 있는 사람, 아는 사람. 4 syllables each. 있는 사람, 아는 사람. But in English, you have to explain it. In other languages, for example, that person who is over there. So in this case, 사람 is the subject of 있다. In this case, 사람 is not the subject. It is the object. But who is the person that knows this person? It is you, the listener, but it is not even mentioned. So 있는 사람, 아는 사람, you have to look at the context to see, or is it being modified as an object, or is it being used as the subject? It's at the center of flexibility of Korean sentences. 저기 있는 사람, 아는 사람. Okay? And then lesson 15. We're at the half point mark. Well then, in that case, if so, 그러면, 그럼, these are the expressions. And of course, 그러면 is shortened to 그럼. 그러면, 그럼. In everyday speech, it's fine to just keep using 그러면, 그러면. It's clearer, but people often say 그럼, 그럼. So 그러면 이거는 뭐예요? And you can guess that 그러면 is actually coming from 그렇다, 그러하다, 그러하다, plus the if ending, 그러면, right? 그러하면, 그러면. So all connected. 그러면 이거는 뭐예요? Then what is this? 지금 바빠요? You're busy now? 그러면 언제 안 바빠요? Then when are you not busy? And then another fun usage of 그러면 or 그럼, only 그럼 is 이거 재미있어? 그럼. It's used as of course. 그러면 cannot be used in this case. It'll only mean then in that case, and then you have to continue your sentence. 그럼. So the meaning behind 그럼 is of course, if not, what else is it going to be? You can imagine that, right? 이거 재미있어? 그럼, of course. Like otherwise, what would it be? It's of course supposed to be fun. 그럼. And in polite language, 그럼요 is often used. Lesson 16 is let's. A lot of people learn this 읍시다 form first. I don't know, from somewhere. 갑시다, 시작합시다. But it's rarely, very, very rarely used. So you don't even have to say it ever in your conversations. You just use the regular present tense as the polite suggestion ending. So, 저도 서점에 갈 거예요. I'm going to the bookstore too. So you're just saying that you're also going. 같이 가요. Let's go together. If you say 같이 가요 like that, it's a statement. Like I'm going together with someone else. 같이 가요 as an invitation in the tone, it means let's. 배 안 고파요? 우리 햄버거 먹어요. 우리 햄버거 먹어요. Let's eat hamburgers. 우리 햄버거 먹어요. So it also depends on your facial expression. There are other forms of let's expressions that you will learn later in our lessons, our courses, and these are some previews. 으시죠, 가자, 을래요, 가실래요. But for the most plain form, just use the present tense, okay? And Na says, oh, wow, thank you so much for this compliment. You'll be a French teacher soon, and you should get, so the comment says, I should get some techniques from you because you're so good at explaining. Thank you so much. 감사합니다. I try. Okay, and I love explaining and breaking things down to make things easier for people. In order to, for the sake of using 위해서. 위해서 is slightly more formal than 위해. Let me see. 하기 위해. I think 위해서. Yeah, slightly. I would say it should be the opposite, but it depends on the personal preference. Let me think a little more about that and get back to you. But it's usually interchangeable. 건강을 위해서. 건강을 위해서. 건강을 위해. I'm thinking 건강을 위해서. Okay, yeah. So I guess I can agree with that right now. But the difference is really subtle. For health, and this 위 is Chinese character, and 위하다. In the old times when a lot of Korean books were written with lots of Chinese characters mixed, not even like So we 해서 no, not like that. Where is the we here? We had a yeah. So you can say, you can see something like that, but in old times, Korean books were written like this. So in the old days, say in the 70s, 70s, and if you didn't know Chinese characters, you couldn't read anything. So newspapers were only for adults because children didn't know Chinese characters. And the first ever Hangul only newspaper was published in the 1990s, I believe. Not a long time ago, right? So you can go ahead and read Korean newspapers now as Korean learners, but it was much more difficult. Okay. Yeah, you're so happy it changed. I am happy it changed because there was a barrier, language barrier for native speakers, even like reading barrier. So yeah, just for the sake of it, 저는 한국 in the old days it would be written like this. Is it? No. Only the particles would be written in Korean and like basic pronouns. Yeah. Do Koreans learn the Chinese characters in school now? I don't think so. Small children do learn some, but I was the last generation of people who actually took hundreds of hours of Chinese Hanja lessons in middle school. And then after that, they stopped Hanja classes for public schools. So people who are like even 10 years younger than me, they can't even read more than 100 Chinese characters that are written on buildings and stuff. So I'm the last generation. My parents' generation, my father can read, I guess, tens of thousands of Chinese characters, and he can write and read everything in Hanja. Most of the Korean vocabulary that is based on Chinese characters, he can read and write everything. I can read maybe half of the Chinese characters that are used inside of Korean language, but I can't write everything. Okay, so back to the main idea of this lesson, 기 위해서. So you turn a verb into the key form and then 위해서. So let's all be glad that this changed so that you don't have to be studying Chinese, Japanese, and Korean at the same time right now. Lesson 18, how to say only but using this form of nothing but. So outside of so-and-so. Originally 밖에 means outside. 밖에 나가요. Let's go outside. But when you use 밖에 like a particle without a space in front and then use the negative form, it means only. And in many cases, using 밖에 plus negative is much more natural than saying 만. I would say one exception where 만 is more natural is when you are giving instructions. 한 번만 누르세요. Press it once. Only. This is more natural when you are giving orders, imperative sentences. And 한 번밖에 안 눌렀어요. I only pressed it once. This is more natural. 밖에 is more natural in this case. echo. 감사합니다. Thank you for saying thank you for my efforts, our efforts. 감사합니다. Lesson 19. After ing, before doing something, we learned it as 기 전에. After is 은 다음에. I mentioned earlier, I emphasized the fact that this 니은 is the past tense marker, right? So 다음 is next, 후 is after, 뒤 is behind. So after doing something, behind doing something. 영화 본 다음에 우리 커피 마셔요. After watching the movie, let's drink coffee. 점심을 먹은 다음에 도서관에 갔어요. 이거 한 다음에 뭐 할 거예요? 그거요, that one. 이거 한 뒤에. Literally behind. Okay? And 결정한 후에. 후, because it's based on Chinese character, it sounds more formal. Audi, thank you for joining, and yeah, see you in the rest of the recording. Lesson 20. By the way, I am meeting up with Audi soon. I think it's next week. Once again, when she visits Korea. And if you would like to meet the team and talk with us, 한국어로 연습하고 싶으시면 저희 meetup에 오시면 됩니다. Please come to our meetup. We have been hosting monthly meetups regularly on our website. We've been posting information of our website, but offline, in person, in Seoul. So you can see the information in the community section of our website as well as on our social media. So we are having a meetup on the 19th, in about a week from now. Okay, lesson 20, even if, even though. The distinction between even if and even though in English is more clear, but you express both ideas using the same thing in Korean. 아어여도. So 바빠도, even though I'm busy. Or depending on the context, it can be even if you are busy. 택시를 타도, even if you ride a taxi, even if you take a taxi. 바빠도, even if I'm busy, even though I'm busy, 바빠도. So conveniently, even if and even though are the same thing in Korean. A quick Q&A session. I think I can keep the comment section as is right now. You took the level test just to do it quick, and I couldn't pass level 4. So you want to if you couldn't pass level 4, you want to start reviewing at level 3 and then start learning stuff that's new at level 4. So review level 3 and then start with level 4. Okay. Can you talk a little bit about any difference between 함께 and 같이? Good question. Thank you, Charity. 같이 and 함께, they both mean together. But the only difference is 함께 sounds more formal and poetic. So from a child, maybe a 7-year-old child, it is very rare to hear them say, 엄마, 나랑 함께 가. It's not very common. 나랑 같이 가. Maybe because 같이 is more, it's simpler to say. 같이 is easier, it sounds cuter. So people say just 같이 all the time in everyday real life conversations. As opposed to 함께. 함께 sounds more formal. And one interesting thing about 함께 is that 함께 plus 하다, whenever you have these two together, like 같이 하다, it's not affected, but 함께 하다, in standard spelling rules, 함께 하다 is one verb, one expression. So whatever it is that you're doing together, you're joining someone as they do something, 함께 하다. So 같이 해 주셔서 감사합니다 is written like this. And then 함께 해 주셔서 감사합니다 is written like that. And my, I guess, 고민 point is that whenever I have to write 함께, I ask myself, will people know that this was not a typo on my part? Because a lot of people think it's actually like that. So I actually avoid using 함께 하다, this expression altogether, and just stick with 같이 해주셔서, or I use 함께 plus another verb, because it's one of those gray areas where some people know that it is correct and some people think this is a typo. Hey, why didn't you put a space there? It's the two different words. One of those things. I hope that helps. Okay, we have 10 more lessons to cover. These are easier to review, I think. Linking verbs with 은데, 니은데, or 는데 in this case. It has several usages. Usage number 1 is giving background information. 내일 일요일인데. So this is not like but. You're just linking two sentences because the first sentence is background information. It's Sunday tomorrow. What are you going to do? Right? I guess the trend these days is, I don't know if it's correct or incorrect. I'm not entirely sure, but a lot of people tends to just connect two English sentences with a comma. So technically speaking, these are two independent sentences. So you have to put a period and then start a new sentence, but it tends to be a trend on social media at least. And this 인데, 는데 is exactly like that. You're like, I'm not done with the first sentence. I'm just going to put a comma there and then continue. And then usage number 2, explaining a situation before another action. So similar to usage number 1, background information, but this is more about the past tense here, like 자고 있었는데. So setting the scene, right? I was sleeping yesterday and then something else happened. This is not like another action. This is background. This is, I was doing that and then this happened. Usage number 3 is showing contrast. This is the easiest usage that you learn at first with 그런데, 9시인데, 준비 많이 했는데요. And then the omitted part is the event didn't happen, I didn't pass the test, etc., etc. Okay, and then expressing surprise or admiration when you are using 은데 at the end. 맛있는데? 좋은데? And of course adding 맛있는데요? 좋은데요? If you're using 존댓말, polite language. Lots of usages, right? And then asking a soft question. 지금 어디 있어요? Would work, but you can say 지금 어디 있는데요? As a softer question because it's also setting the scene. Like, oh, so you're where now? And then the omitted part is to be missing from this important information or missing from this important conference, to be not present, like setting the scene. But you're not saying the omitted part, so the question itself is less accusative. And then usage number 6. Here you're saying something, expecting a response or reaction. 지금 바쁜데요. And then kind of reading the facial expression of the other person. 눈치를 봐요. You read the room. 바쁜데요. 어려운데요. 안 되는데요. Okay. Lesson 22. This is a combination of many things that you already know. 갈 수 있어요. I can, 을 수 있어요. I can do it. 도, also. That also is possible. I might. Maybe I might. Maybe they might. So, 알다, 알 수도 있어요. 제 친구가 알 수도 있어요. My friend knowing is also possible. 만나다, 만날 수도 있어요. So without 도, 만날 수 있어요 is we can meet. 만날 수도 있어요. Also, we can meet. We can also meet. We might be able to meet. We might meet again tomorrow. Okay. 네, 마리아님 안녕히 주무세요. 내일 다시 와서 녹화본 봐주세요. The recorded version is called 녹화본. 본. This 본 is a version. So 사본 is a copy. 원본 is the original version. 녹화본 is a recorded version, recorded file. Okay, 본. All right, new word. And this is the first word builder in our lessons. It's a series that starts here using many, not only, but many Chinese characters. So 학 refers to learning, studying, and often related to school. So it's a word building block. So 학생, 학교, 학원. 학원s are everywhere in Korea, as you know. 수학, number learning, mathematics. Subject learning, you divide things into different categories. And then as in 영어, 한국어, 이탈리아어, right? Language learning is language learning. Language learning is language learning. I know it's a weird sentence in English, but 어학, language learning is 어학. 언어 is language as a standalone word, and 언어학 is linguistics, 언어학. 스캔본 sounds great too. 경제 is economy, 경제학 is economics. 학자, 자 means a person, so somebody who is a scholar, somebody who researches and studies is 학자. You is you go somewhere and stay and study, so studying abroad. 전 means to move. 전학, you change schools. School year, 학년. School semester, 기 is period in this case. And 방학, you let go of school vacation. Encourage to study, money, scholarship. Easy, right? And then 학습, study and acquire, learning. 독학, in this case, 독 means by yourself. So 독학 is self-study. All right, we have just one more lesson in the series, Word Builder series, later on. Lesson 24 is irregular. So basically, the rule is change to real. Like not 고라요, but 골라요. So not 몰아요, 몰라요. Fun fact, 모르다 came from 못 알다. 못 알다. 못 is can't, 알다 to know. 못 알다, can't know. 못 알다. And over time it became one word. 모르다. Conveniently. 빠르다, 빨라요. 자르다, 잘라요. 기르다, 길러요. You can also use 기르다 when you are growing out your hair. 머리 길러요. And with all of these examples, 골라요, when you add 고, like 고르고, 모르고, 빠르고, you keep the 빠르 part. Like it depends on the ending, right? But the present tense, the past tense, they all add real. Okay, moving on to lesson 25. So-and-so 네요, to show surprise, realization, personal impression. Instead of saying, 커요, it's big. 크네요, it's big. 어울려요, it suits you, it looks good on you. 잘 어울리네요. So, 잘 어울려요, if you say it like that, like, it's very plain. You knew it would look good on this person, but 잘 어울리네요, you're surprised. You're impressed. 맞아요 is, you know that this is correct. You know that the other person knows. You know they know this. But 맞네요. You realize, 여기 있어요. Where's the air conditioner remote? 여기 있어요. Very plain. Maybe even frustrated. Maybe you are. Hey, 여기 있어요. And then 여기 있네요. You either knew and then you want to show that, hey, see, it's here, sarcastically, or 여기 있네요. You are surprised yourself too. And then 5 more lessons to go, everyone. Thank you for sticking with me the whole time and studying with me. This is amazing, and thousands of people actually watch the recorded versions, so that is so amazing. So much commitment on everyone. 정말 정말 대단해요. Amazing. Very, very passionate learners we have. And this rule is 디귿 changing to real. Not 들어요, but 들어요. Not 걷어요, 걸어요, 물어요, 싫어요, 깨달아요. Exceptions to the irregular form is 받다, 묻다, 닫다, 믿다. So quite a lot actually. So not 팔아요, not 물어요 in this case. So this verb are 2 different verbs. They just happen to have the same spelling in the dictionary form. Okay? And then lesson 27, politeness levels. Like I said, these are easier lessons to review. 존댓말. All our lessons are basically in 존댓말 because that's the safer form, and I only recommend that you start with 존댓말 and try not to use 반말 too early on in a relationship with somebody. It's completely fine to speak 존댓말 with someone forever. I have hundreds of friends that I only speak 존댓말 to, and we are very close. I shouldn't say that I'm very close to hundreds of people, but you know what I mean. Anyway, but when you do need to speak to somebody younger, somebody of the same age as you, you can drop yo at the end to turn your sentence into 반말. And then some specific forms are 예요 changes to 야. So 거예요 future tense, 볼 거예요 changes to 볼 거야. And then 책이에요 changes to 책이야. 우유예요 changes to 우유야. Shorter. The meaning behind 반말, this 반 means half. 반말, although it's not half as short, it's just short language. All right, 3 more to go. And Na says, thank you. This live has so many lessons and information. Some of them are new for me. I really should watch it more times, and I'm grateful. Thank you so much. 그리고 now that we just mentioned 반말 in casual language, that is different from the polite language, because in the polite language, you were able to just use the plain present tense, 내일 봐요, as let's meet tomorrow, but you need to use 자. So 내일 봐 is an exception. It does work, but for example, 이거 사요. 우리 이거 사요. Let's buy this. 우리 이거 사요. It works. It can mean we are buying this as a present sentence, but let's buy this is also a possible translation. But in 반말, 한글, 우리 이거 사 doesn't work as let's. So you have to say 사자. Because the K-pop Demon Hunters 사자 boys are so popular, I think somebody, some company, some shopping mall should kind of come up with a character, 사자 boys. Not 사자 boys, but 사자. Let's buy this, boys. So 내일 보자. See you tomorrow. 이거 사자. Let's buy this. 내일은 쉬자. Let's take a day off tomorrow. 같이 가자. Let's go together. 조금만 더 기다리자. Let's wait a little bit longer. And then 시옷, irregular, 시옷. So when you have 시옷 at the end of the verb stem, you often drop it and just attach 아요. So not 나사요, but 나아요. And then not 저서요, but 저어요. Although in my hometown, in our dialect, people do say 져서요, 잘 져서요. So it depends on the region, but in standard Korean, it's 저어요. So yeah, growing up, I would say 잘 져쓰세요 in the dialect. Allison says, speaking of 반말, I am in my 60s. Everyone is younger than me. Will it be awkward for younger people I talk to if I use polite speech? Not at all. It's completely fine. I am on speaking terms, frequent speaking terms with my neighbor who is in his late 60s, I believe, or early 70s, and he speaks to me in 존댓말 every single time, and I appreciate that. He doesn't speak to me in 반말. He shouldn't, because I'm just his neighbor, but we talk a lot. I know his son, I know his sons and daughter, I know his grandchildren too, but still, and he knows my entire family, but we still speak in 존댓말 to each other. It's completely fine and completely normal and good in a way. Okay, the last lesson that we will review today. It's already been 90 minutes that we've been reviewing together. If you've been sticking with me from the beginning of this lesson, you are amazing. Amazing. Thank you. We have 실 for room. Okay, 화장실. I still think it's funny that we ended up with 화장실 because 화장 means makeup room, and then you don't only put on your makeup or fix your makeup in the bathroom, toilet, bathroom. Of course, if you look at the English word bathroom, you don't take a bath in the bathroom, a public bathroom. There's no bath there. And in Chinese, like 시쇼, it means 세수, 시쇼. It's like 시쇼 is like washing your hands. You don't just wash your hands in the bathroom. So it's funny how many languages have incorrect words for referring to the bathroom. Yeah, powder room, right? And if it's actually a room where you fix your makeup or you get makeup done, is powder room. So it's different. And stage makeup is 분장, and then 분장실 is dressing room for stage or TV shows. And then 교실, so we're looking at 실, not bathrooms. 교 is school or teaching room, classroom, 연습실, practice room. So I occasionally go to my 연습실 where I just practice breakdance by myself, and that's 연습실. 춤 연습실. 대기실, waiting room. 대기 is a formal word for waiting. 대기표, waiting ticket. 대기 있어요? Is there a waiting line? 대기. And then 회의실, 회의 is meeting room. There was this reporter, I don't know working for which TV station, this reporter's name, his real name was 대기. His real name is 대기. And he became really famous and well known in Korea for his email address because his name was 대기, and then he was reporting live from a snowy road, right? And he had been snowed on. He had snow on top of his head, on his shoulders, and everybody could see that he had waited a long time to for his turn to report, and then his name had 박대기 기자, like journalist, reporter, and then his email address was waiting at soandso.co.kr. I forgot which station. So it definitely doesn't mean waiting in his actual name. It must mean something else, but humorously, he just chose waiting as his company name. So that became a huge meme, and a lot of other reporters and other people started using literal translations of their names if it has something that means something in English as their ID in front of at. So yeah, this was the first time that somebody's email address became widely known in Korea because of the literal translation. But now you know that 대기 means waiting, so waiting room. 회의실, 병 means an illness, so hospital room is 병실. I know it sounds very grim, but that's what it's called. 미용, beauty treatment, 미용실, hair salon. 사무실, 사무 is company work. 교무 is school work. 실장, it can be used in front. So 실장, it's not 실장, it's 실장, the pronunciation. 장 is head. 실내, 실외, 내외. Indoors, outdoors. So yeah, if you look up his name, you will see lots of images. Yeah, let me see if I can. I'm typing. So yeah, that's him. It was KBS. Yeah, his name, his email was here, waiting at kbs.co.kr. It's clear that he was waiting for a long time, right? Yeah. Okay. Q&A. First of all, thank you so much for reviewing the whole level with me, lesson 1 to lesson 30 of Talk to Me in Korean's level 3. 감사합니다. 오늘 같이 복습을 끝냈어요. I hope you were able to get some new information from the additional bits and pieces that I offered while reviewing. And if you have some important questions to ask before we wrap up this live class, do let me know. And for those of you who have been following us for a long time, studying with us for a long time, and if you are new, if you go to our courses, you see this teacher named Yeji, right? You know that she was on the team for a long time and she worked with us on so many different projects, and she decided to try something new and study for an exam, a very important exam. She studied for a long time, and I was waiting for the day for her to finish her exams and then come back to the office for a visit. And today's the day. So after the live class is over, I'm going to head off over to the office and I'm going to have lunch with her. So maybe I'll post a picture with her if she is okay with it for people who miss her. So she's doing great. I just wanted to let you guys know because I see so many familiar names. And Max, you are here. Wow. Thank you for doing the review with me. Yeah, so it's been fun. And questions, please. I'm going to try to answer many questions before I go. 리다님 질문이 여기 있네요. I have a question about the yo ending. If I want to be polite, I want to say a one word answer to a question. Can I add it to any word? Yes, you can add it to any word. 여기요. Where is it? 여기요. What is this? What is this? 마이크? 이거? 마이크요. Who is it? 저요. It's very easy, very simple. 그 다음에 is 대기실 the correct term for a medical facility? Yes. If you go to the emergency room and then you can see 보호자 대기실. Even before COVID and especially during COVID, they only ever allowed one family member to accompany or no family member to accompany a patient in the ER, like actually into the medical treatment area. So 보호자 대기실 is where you were supposed to wait. 보호자 is 보호 is protect. 자 is person. So protector. So it means guardian, the patient's family, a friend, a guardian, right? And 보호자 대기실 is whoever the patient came with has to wait in this 대기실. So it is used in the medical facilities as well. 네. 좋아요. 그러면 is there a simple phrase? Is there a simple Korean phrase for I'm sorry I don't know the proper politeness levels. I'm working on it. Please forgive me. First of all, not really a simple Korean phrase for this, but you can say 죄송해요. Maybe you made an obvious mistake and you've noticed it and the other person is blushing that you accidentally spoke 반말 to them. You can say 죄송해요. 제가 아직 존댓말 잘 몰라요. 제가 아직 존댓말을 잘 몰라요. Maybe you can practice this line. 죄송해요. 제가 아직 존댓말을 잘 몰라요. I don't know 존댓말 very well yet. It's a useful phrase you can say. Okay, so that's a wrap for this lesson. Please check out our courses. This is the last day of our sale this period, and you can also study with our books here. You can go to our bookstore and click on Start Here if you're completely new. And you can also get all of our books on Amazon as well. And you can you can practice with our speaking app or the reading app. All of our apps are being updated almost bi-weekly. We are like regularly refreshing the apps and updating the apps to make them better. So please do check them out. And thank you so much. I hope you stay for a long time on this channel and on the website to learn more and more. The most important thing is to spend a lot of time with this language that you're learning. So please do that. It's been 100 minutes. I'm going to sign off. Have a good day. 좋은 하루 보내세요. Bye bye.